Hello everyone, let me present myself first. I'm Polaska, a freelancer 3D modeler currently pursuing a degree in game design. You might recognize me from my YouTube channel where I share my 3D modeling live streams and what on the mods. Today I'm here to discuss a game that caught my attention for the past year, called Flyout. While it's not my usual style to do game reviews, this one is an exception. Flyout aligns closely with my professional work, offering a more simplified yet engaging experience that I find to be a great way to unwind in my free time while still indulging my passion of creating things. As someone who has closely followed the game development for over the past year, monitoring the Discord channel for updates, community posts, and every creation in the making, my expectations were high, although controlled. After all, this is a project undertaken by a highly skilled individual and a solo developer. Let's start with the positives. Graphically and simulation wise, huge part of the game core mechanics, Flyout, impresses me. It's an open world design and immersion and simulation adds to the allure. However, when it comes to the game editor, the whole entire part of the crucial core of the game, I can't help but notice that even for early access, lacks heavily in the principle of building mechanics. My primary and pretty much the only concern lies here. I want to underscore that Flyout transcends all the creation games I've encountered over the past decade. Titles like Kerbal Space Program, Simple Planes, Simple Rockets 2, Bus Siege, Stormworks, Balsa Model Flight Simulator, Main Assembly, Scrap Mechanics, and Homebrew Pattern No, just to cite some, all fall short in comparison to the level of customization and vehicle design achievable in Flyout. The game's innovative core concept, involving the procedural manipulation of vertices, as well as the addition and deletion of faces, sets it apart as a true game changer. While it's worth noting that you can import 3D models into your game through a specific method, which I won't delve deep into this review, it's essential to consider the context. If the intention of me behind playing the game is to escape the realm of 3D softwares commonly used for work, it becomes preferable for Flyout not to compel players to return to those 3D software tools during their leisure time and have fun with with its built-in mechanics. And even if contrasting opinions say, well, if you think the editor is bad, you can always import it from your 3D software. To that I say yes, I could, but then importing 3D models should be something implemented on the early access, not what it is right now, a complex mix between file sharing and small amounts of coding. Before delving deep into specific critiques, I must clarify that this review will fully focus on the editing aspect of the game, along with its user interface, because that's the only thing that I have problems with. Only. I will conclude by offering some suggestions on how these aspects could improve for a more seamless and enjoyable experience. Now, opening the game right now, I have this editor, settings, and quit. I'll go to the editor, new aircraft, and show how the camera works. Okay, I'm gonna start with that. To move, you press the middle mouse button, then zoom out with the middle mouse button itself, and rotate with the right mouse button. Right? That's good till then. But then we reach the first limitation, which I do not understand why it's here, which is this. I'm currently trying to go further back, and pressing the minus on the keyboard, the numpad, then pressing the minus on the how can I say, the numbers on the main keyboard. I cannot zoom out more than this. Why? I do not understand why. Big planes, really big planes, would benefit of being able to zoom out to get a perfect, how can I say, dimension of the whole thing, and also editing specific things. All right, that's the first critique of the camera. Then panning, which is, if you go over to, for example, Blender has the ability to pan the camera like so. Okay, 3ds Max, which is another 3D software, also has the ability to pan the camera like so. Okay, as you can see here. Let me go over to perspective view. As you can see here, I have the ability to pan the camera. On Flyout, I do not. And then you say, oh, it's a minor thing, you won't affect. Believe me, as someone who does planes for a living, basically, panning on the editor of any 3D software, which Flyout, to be honest, now is basically doing what 3D softwares are have been done for the past 2 decades or so. It's lacking that, and it's something that is really, really important. Now, that may be because of how Flyout camera is currently implemented. On normal 3D softwares, okay, this thing where you see right here, oh, sorry, didn't mean to do that. This thing where you see right here, this is your viewport. The viewport is the camera itself. So if I go on the camera and select it, it's basically gonna be this, okay? I can move the camera around, I can, aka pan it, I can rotate it, I can go forward and backwards with it, and so on. So I have freedom of movement. But in Flyout, I'm locked to these things right here. I'm locked to the zoom in, the rotation, and the rotation on this axis here. And that's it. It's lacking panning, okay? Panning. It's really, really essential. And not only that, on Flyout, like I said, the zoom limits the creation of things. There is no reason for me to be locked like this all the time. There's no reason. Like you see on Blender, I can keep zooming out, zooming out, zooming out until I feel like it's good enough. It's really necessary for the game to fix these two things. Maybe even completely get rid of the lock of the camera itself and let the player actually move around freely like you do in Blender. Like this, you can zoom out, pan around, rotate, and etc. so on and so forth. Okay. Now, thirdly, second, the UI and its fixed windows. I don't hate the UI. It's kind of good, but for a game this complex, which differs from any other game created that focus on creating aircraft, ships, helicopters, so on and so forth, you need to have a fluid UI. What do I mean by that? First and foremost, if I go over here and look at the specifications of a vehicle, all right? I have the weight, fuel weight, length, dry weight, span, wing area, and so on and so forth. I cannot move this window. It's a fixed window. I would like to constantly, if I wanted to, have this window fixed on the top right to know, like, if I add a piece, for example, procedural fuselage, place it here, then I'll go over here and rotate it and start scaling stuff, okay? And again, do this. All right, I would like to know where is 40 meters. For example, I was doing a YB35 on a stream while streaming Flyout, and to know how to scale my blueprints, which is another thing that I do not like, completely don't like. I need to scale the blueprints to 26 meters to one side and 26 meters to the other, placing the middle of the aircraft on the middle, on the very middle, and then I have to use these as a guide, for example, to scale the blueprints to. What do I mean by that? If I go over to the blueprints, add blueprint, go over here, YB35, all right? I have it here. I will rotate it. Then, where is it? Come on, there it goes. Rotate it. Place the blueprint on the very middle, because that's the best way to do a plane model. All right. And then now I have to know how, if this thing is 35 meters, sorry, the wingspan is like 52 meters wide or something like that. Hold on. YB35. Wingspan. Meters, because I work meters. 52 meters. So it's 26 on each side. These things right here, if I go over them, again, UI is it's convoluted. Sorry. Select it, then place it the x-axis. Sorry, tab, then got it. Yeah, that's it's gonna be. It's one of the things I'm trying to say. The UI, it doesn't tell you right away what to do and how to do things. Like now I got now I got it. Like I can put 26 here, and that is it. That's how I have to scale my blueprint right here to the right side. So I need to grab the blueprint, click on it, scale it to 5.5 because I already did this before. And now I can finally align the wingtips to the very edge of these cylinders. And I can start building from there. All right. But for some reason, when I'm not on the exact blueprint tab right here, I cannot click on the blueprint to quickly edit it. I cannot. It's something that I would very much like, very much would help and save time, but it's not here. I have to go, first of all, stop what I'm doing, click over here, click on blueprints, then click over here, and now I can edit, move, rotate, translate it to everything that I want, including opacity. It would be best if I could just simply click on the blueprint on the very corner of it, for example, and then adjust opacity, the scaling, so on and so forth. All right. Not only that, but the tab, how can I say, the ability to do these right here. It would be also great if I could to edit, sorry, to grab this cross section, full screen it, and fix it. Or not even that, maybe remove this blank area right here on the bottom, which takes part of the screen, and just simply get rid of it. So I have more things and more space to work with. It feels less claustrophobic, right? Third, the controls. The lack of ability to see the controls, the ability to change them, and the lack of visual input. If you go over to Blender, which is something that I will compare Flyout and honestly recommend. So if this video just gets to you, and just copy just copy Blender. Everyone will like it. This is a software that is used on game industries and is really, really good. The control scheme is really good. It's really simple to learn. You can watch one done tutorial and you will already be moving yourself on the map, on the scene. All right, it's a really good one. On the bottom left of the screen, talking about the third, the controls, the lack of ability to see the controls, the ability to change them, and the lack of visual input. If you press anything in Blender, for example, middle mouse button, it says cancel on the right. Okay, this movement that I just did, I can press the right mouse button and it goes away. Then do it again and press Alt. I can snap on a certain view, like this. Flyout does have these views, but you need to again go over to this, go over to this, then click perspective or orthographic, then you go right, top, down, front, back, and that's one way of doing it. There's also the keyboard. Wait, hold on. Yeah, there's the keyboard. If I press if I press 3, 1, or 7, it does the same things. Yes, I could use them same as Blender. It is something, but like, make it simpler, make it a little bit simpler. Now, fourth, which might fall under the second category, but also should be at some point, the ability to delete something instantly while pressing delete. For some reason, all right, when you go over here and I want to delete this, I'm pressing delete, it doesn't delete. Pressing backspace, doesn't delete. Control X doesn't delete. X doesn't delete. I need to stop what I'm doing again, click on this arrow, and then drag it over here. Why? Why just not simplifies the everything and just make it so it's I'm gonna say Easy as that. Also, this is a bug. Don't worry about that. Just make it so pressing delete will delete the piece. Simple as that. By the way, there's no Control Z. So if I delete something, I do need to know what I'm deleting. And honestly, I can kinda not mind that, but at the same time, coding Control Z is hard, okay? It's somewhat hard. So I can forgive that. So I'm not gonna criticize that. Now, the lack of visual input. On the controls, if I hover anything, I do not have keybinds. Like for example, this thing right here. The way you translate, rotate, and add stuff, right? So for example, if I add a cube over here, if I add the cube, I can rotate it. Yeah, I need to click the cube. Then I have to rotate it, I have to click this, for rotation, click this for scale, click this for M. I can, yes, press M to switch between them, but it's better to have dedicated keys for them. For example, again, pulling from the 3D software industry, because Flyout is trying to do something that 3D software does best. On Blender, if you have a piece, something over here, and you want to scale it, you press S for scale, then R for rotation, then G for movement, all right? You can do these with these keybinds. They are separate keybinds. The reason why I don't like this is not only because it's hidden. You do not know on early access where the controls for editing anything is. You do not know what the keybinds for it are if you hover over them. And the current translation, rotation, and scale of the objects are handled by only one simple key. And like I said, from 3D software, it's better to separate them. It's more efficient, all right? And yes, you can quickly get used to this, but again, if I want to rotate, if I want to scale something, I'm gonna click one, accidentally click it again, I'm going all the way to, I'm gonna say, translation, and if I click again, I have to click 2 times, and it wastes time, you know, and it's not optimal. It's not optimal. For rotation, translation, and scale on Flyout, you press M multiple times. For snapping angles, you press N, and for the mirror mode, you press B. None of this is told to you. None of this, all right? And it would be very much if you could see the keybinds when you hover them, and you have also something, for example, on the, not editor settings doesn't have anything for controls, but if you go all the way to the menu, go over to edit settings, and go over to controls, it would be good if you also had the editing controls, all right? Now, fourth, which might also fall on the second category, but also should be at some point, the ability to not, alright, say the delete thing. Yeah, just make the delete button. Instantly delete something. And fifth, the blueprints, which also fail in the second category, but also should also be treated as a separate topic. Regarding blueprints, all right, grabbing the, I'm gonna say, the YB35. To edit it, all right, every time that I want to edit it, I need to go over to these 3 dots, like I said, go to blueprints, click on the cog, and then scale it to the measurements that I've adjusted with the fuselage parts. So I know how big do I have to make the plane, all right? Now, a thing in Blender, all right, is that, not in Blender, but also in 3ds Max, that if you add any object, including a type of schematics, for example, the YB35 that I just added onto a Flyout, is that if I go over here, there's the pivot point, all right? The pivot point is on the center of the object that you create. So the very center of this object is here on the, where is it? On this yellow dot, orange dot here. So it's gonna rotate and it's gonna scale from that. There are ways to also change the origin of the object, especially if you have a cube, for example. Is way easier to see, like over here. I can grab this. It's an add-on, by the way. I can place it over here, and now my rotation is over there. There are ways. There are ways in Flyout to do this. For example, the middle of the image also is the pivot point. There is no problem in that. The rotation point is also on the middle of the image, and the scaling is also on the middle of the image, alright? But here is the thing. When doing aircraft, to be as precise as possible, you need to have the at least, honestly, only the translation to be anywhere where the mouse is. What does that mean? On Blender again, if I go over here and select this image and try to move it, look this. The movement point is where my cursor is. So I can grab this part right here and then move it to where I want it to be. Same as this right here. Over here, over here. And why is that important? Why that matters? It doesn't seem like a big deal. Well, if I try and add the blueprint right now of the YB39 to Flyout and try to make it as precise as possible. Let me place it on the middle here. Yes. I'm going to add another one. Hold on. I'm going to add another one. Add blueprint, then YB35. I'm going to then scale it. I'm going to then place 5.5. It's sluggish, especially this scaling. It's really sluggish. Yes, I could do it manually, but I don't have snapping for scale. I only have snapping for angles. Now, rotating this 90 degrees, rotating this 90 degrees. I then, if I want a side view of this aircraft, I have to rotate it 90 degrees once more. And you see, this is the first limitation. I want to grab the part which is down there, that one right there, and place it on the middle of the fuselage, so I have a better view of the side of the fuselage, make my plane a little bit better, so on and so forth. So if I go over here, change it to the scaling, all right, and try to make it as precise as possible, I cannot, because why? The pivot point on this case is the one that controls all the translation of the image, so I cannot move it from here. I cannot move it from here. On Blender, if I try to do the same thing that I just did, okay, I'm gonna rotate this like so, place the middle of the aircraft on the very X, then I'm gonna duplicate, rotate it, then rotate it again. I'm gonna do the same thing that I did in Flyout, but this time I have more precision. I can make and grab this thing right here and place it over where I want it to be. For example, it has to be right here, and it has to be right here. On Flyout, the center of the pivot thing, which helps me move, is right there, like over there. See the red dot? It's right over there. And like you can see here, I cannot move it. I don't have precision, so I have to go far away from a distance and try to align it as best as possible. But again, I have to move the entire camera. I don't have the zoom to work with me. You see how convoluted it starts getting? And it starts demotivating me. It's my opinion, by the way. I'm doing this review because I'm having my problems, okay? I'm entitled to an opinion. So this is my opinion regarding everything right now. So if there could be a way, just Blender actually, just a Blender way to press G and move it from where your mouse is, the image, that would be amazing. It would be way faster. Not only that, instead of having everything, for example, the position, rotation, and scale on a hidden tab, quote unquote hidden tab, which you have to press a cog and look what it is right now, it would be best if it were like the rest of the pieces, where you click on the piece and you'd have location, local position, local rotation, and scale. It would be best, like, I click on the blueprint right now, and it's gonna show over here, so I can edit it better. It will be amazing, alright? Then, I think that's pretty much it for the critiques I have. If it seems small, it's not small. These are really, really, really crucial things for the editing on Flyout to work. they are really, really crucial. There's only one thing, even though I said I didn't have anything to criticize about the game itself. All right, if sorry, like the active playing of the game, not the editing. If we go over to load aircraft, right? YB-35, no, Griffin, and load it and go all the way to the game itself. There is a way to play like War Thunder, and War Thunder is one of the most cohesive and better playing games there is. All right, and there is a way to play it like that in Flyout. If you press F2. But the main problem, I don't know how loud this is, so I'm just gonna mute it. The main problem is that this is sluggish. I currently have the highest DPI on my mouse and the highest Windows sensibility settings. This is really, really low. I'm currently, look, I'm going really fast, like hitting my mouse, and it's like Jello. If there could be an increasing sensibility for this, increase on the camera speed, it would be amazing. Now, I think that's all. If I forgot something, I'm just gonna add on the comments, and that's gonna be it. I have really high hopes for Flyout. I really want this game to just get better overall for everyone. That's why I'm doing this video and these critiques. Now, the ways to fix it, right? The ways to fix it. The first one, starting off the camera, zoom, panning, and limitations. Just copy Blender. Make an entire Blender camera. All right, that's it. Make the middle mouse button rotation and zoom. Shift middle mouse button to pan, and that's pretty much it. You could also do Alt and wherever the mouse is on, like for example Alt and middle mouse click, you can focus on an object, and this is really useful, really, really useful. So I recommend doing this. Do a blender. Simple, do a blender. Second, the UI. Add little overlays for everything. Then also add something that could be add a option menu for rebinding everything. Then also separate the rotation, translation, and scale into separate own pieces. All right, that would be fantastical. For delete key, please let the delete key delete. It's the delete key, you know? It's the delete key. Please let the delete key delete. Please. And what else? The blueprints. Please make so the blueprints on the local position are the local on the position, the rotation and scale are over here. And please make so the translation of the blueprints are where the mouse is, so it's more precise. See, this would be phenomenal. Honestly, I don't know what else I could do. Criticize about the editor, because again, over here on the normal game, there's nothing to criticize. Not even the War Thunder thing, but again, the War Thunder thing, if you increase the sensibility or put a sensibility slider, it will be phenomenal. So yeah, this is all I have to say about Flyout. I wouldn't consider buying the game right now. But if you want to buy the game, if you want to do your own stuff, there's also the way to import 3D models. But again, it's not the base game, and you are also gonna run into problems with that. So I wouldn't consider buying the game right now. All right, and I'm sorry because I was really excited by this game. I was really excited. Sony, if you're watching this, I love your game by bits. You are doing a fantastical job. So please, just do these things to make everything a little bit easier, please. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I hope this game, which has a lot of potential, improves.